Gavel strikes, it's the sound of doom in a courtroom, crowded every face in gloom. Truth on trial under high what light, shadows dancing in the dead of night. Fingers pointing secrets to bear, lies entwined in the heavy air. The jury's watching, hearts break into whispers tremble, but the facts won't do. Judge and jury, kings of fate, deciding lives on a silver plate. The verdict rings out so loud, innocence buried, lost in the crowd. Faint confession behind a cracked door, a stained glove tossed upon the floor. Law books close, though they never heal. Justice bent, but the scars stay real. Clock keeps ticking, truth on the line, each heavy a paradigm. Chaos brews behind composure's mask, answers buried in impossible tasks. Judge and jury, kings of fate, deciding lives on a silver plate. The verdict's echoing so loud, innocence buried, lost in the crowd.
Welcome, everyone. It's been a little minute since I've been live on this channel. Today is July 12th, 2025, and I wanted to discuss the recent developments, the civil lawsuit that has been brought against Faith Evans. This lawsuit was initially filed on July 2nd, 2025, and unsealed on July 8th, 2025. Now, this lawsuit is concerning uh, Volita Wallace's estate. And for those of you who do not know who Volita is the Notorious B.I.G's mother, who recently passed away in February of 2025. Her estate, is actually bringing suit against Faith Evans, claiming that Evans is now sole manager of Biggie LLC and that she's withholding the trust's rightful share of profits from the sale of Biggie's catalog. And it's also related to rights to primary primary wave music. Um, there was a recent sale brokered between Primary Wave and Faith Evans. It's my understanding that this actually started before Biggie's mom passed on. The sale is reportedly worth around $100 million, and Wayne Barrow, who's pictured in the thumbnail in a black suit next to Biggie's mom, front of Biggie, an executive, an executor of Biggie's mom's estate, filed the lawsuit in Delaware Court of Chan- of Chancery. And as I said, it is number one, improper withholding of funds. The lawsuit claims that Faith Evans has distributed proceedings to Biggie's children, Tiana and CJ, and presumably herself, but that she's withheld the estate slash the trust share. The exact withheld amount is, however, redacted from the legal filings. Number two, the second allegation. It says that Faith Evans is alleged to be cutting out the trust from management. Wayne Barrow says Evans is ignoring a 50-50 ownership split and running the LLC unilaterally. He alleges that Faith is preventing the estate from participating in management or business affairs, even though the Notorious B.I.G.'s mother had secured these rights before her untimely unaliving. They request for remedies. The estate is seeking a court order to declare the trust a 50% member of the LLC. They're also requesting that there's an audit and release of the full proceeds proceeds owed to the estate. They're also asking that the court remove Faith Evans as the manager and appoint Barrow in her place. These funds are expected to profit the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation. Now, what does the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation do exactly? Foundation Inc., often referred to by the acronym CWMF, is a nonprofit which was founded in 1997 by Voletta Wallace, the mother of the late rapper Christopher the Notorious B.I.G. Wallace. Its mission centers around uplifting youth through education, especially in the very Brooklyn community where he grew up, which is Bedford, Stula Vest, Stula Vestinki, Stula, I'm sorry, Stuyvesant, I think if y'all are from Brooklyn and know how to pronounce that place, let me know. Put it in the chat phonically for me. Put it in the chat or in the comments phonically for me. Now, their key efforts include books instead of pum-pums, promoting academic success and steering. They also offer scholarships and grants to students, providing books, computers, and learning tools for schools, daycare centers, and mentoring programs. The initial goal, or one of the initial goals, was building a community center in that exact community to house a daycare, after school tutoring, and computer training programs. The foundation focuses primarily on educational empowerment and resources for underserved youth. So, the argument being brought forth is that Faith, since Biggie's mom's passing, has kind of pushed the 50-50 agreement to the side and just is managing Biggie LLC independently, which Wayne Barrow objects to. Now, here's some timeline information. Pre-February, she negotiated with Primary Wave for the sale of half of the rights of Biggie's catalog, estimated uh, to be about 100 million carve out for the estate. Now, who is Primary Wave? Primary Wave is a privately held music publishing and talent management company founded in January 2006 by music executive Lawrence Mestel, headquartered in New York City with offices in in Austin, Austin, Nashville, and London. What they do music publishing and rights management. They manage and acquire song catalogs representing over 15,000 songs, including more than 1,400 number one hits. Their acquisitions include major names by Mookie Robinson. They also do talent management. They manage artists such as Melissa Etheridge, Cypress Hill, CeeLo Green, Fantasia, Skid Row, Plain White Tees, and more. They also have a brand and digital marketing arm in which is in-house in their in-house agencies, Brand Synergy Group and Bright Shop Digital Marketing. They work on brand partnerships, social media, digital campaigns, and music for film and TV. They also do film and TV production. They produce and license content integrating their catalog into various media. Now, let's get back to the timeline. On July 2nd, 2025, as I stated, Wayne Barrow files the complaint. And then on the 8th, the complaint was unsealed and made public. Now, this is a very high profile legal battle over legacy. And some of the potential next steps, we should expect filings, motions, possibly a court date in Delaware, and possible media statements. However, Faith Evans has not yet publicly spoken or responded to the suit. She has not said a word, and I've actually checked her social media. She has not responded by herself or by way of her attorney. So, what are some of the implications? Like, what does the estate stand to gain and potentially, like, what is the potential impact on Biggie's legacy here? Well, the estate stands to gain monetization of catalog and image rights. By partnering with Primary Wave, Biggie's estate can license music, name, image, and likeness for the purposes of like commercials, films, and TV shows, clothing and merchandise deals, um, biopics or documentaries, NFTs, videos, games, and immersive digital experiences. This helps generate long term income beyond streaming. They also stand to gain brand expansion. Primary Waves, as I explained a few moments ago, has a strong brand marketing team that finds innovative ways to position legacy artists in modern media. This includes merch, collabs, um, curated playlists, festivals, and interactive content that introduces big Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They also stand to gain global licensing. Biggie's music and image may appear more often across international campaigns of new digital formats like AR/VR, expanding his global presence. In addition, the estate can gain control and equity. Often, Primary Wave enters into joint ventures for not full ownership. So, the Wallace estate may keep creative control or veto power while sharing profits from new projects. Now, as far as the potential impact on the Notorious B.I.G.'s legacy, positive outcomes could be that his legacy could be preserved and also grow. If managed properly, this ensures Biggie's name stays relevant and respected across generations. Like, for instance, what's happened with Tupac, Bob Marley, or Elvis. They also can have a positive impact in culture reinforcement. Projects like the Netflix doc Biggie, I got a story to tell. Show how smart estate deals can deepen appreciation of his artistry, upbringing, and impact on hip hop. Additionally, there's an educational and community impact, like projects. Um, Proceeds from licensing deals can help fund nonprofits like the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation, supporting literacy and youth empowerment in Brooklyn. Now, I want to know your thoughts, like on this, because Faith Evans, and I actually looked it up because Faith Evans, when Biggie passed, he didn't have a will, last will, and testament in place. So Faith became the sole. Let's see, hold on a second. How? One second, y'all. I had it up. All right. So Faith Evans gained control over parts of the Notorious B.I.G. estate primarily through her role as his widow and by later becoming manager of Biggie LLC, the legal entity in music rights. Now, here's a more detailed overview. The marriage to Biggie. Faith Evans was legally married to Christopher Wallace, aka the Notorious B.I.G., at the time of his unaliving in 1997. As his legal spouse, she was entitled to a portion of his estate under interstate succession laws since Biggie passed without a will. The rest of his estate was shared between his two children, CJ Wallace, who he had with Faith, and Tiana Wallace, who he had with Jan Jackson, and his mother, Volita Wallace. Initial control by his mother. In the years after Biggie's passing, his mom took the lead in managing his legacy. She established Biggie LLC, a legal entity to handle his intellectual property, including royalties from music, merchandise, licensing deals, post hummus projects. Volita and Faith worked together at times, but Volita retained majority control for many years. At some point prior to or following Biggie's mom's passing, Faith Evans became the sole manager of Biggie LLC. Okay, so that's how this all came about. So, for those of you who didn't know, Faith was indeed legally married to Biggie at the time of his untimely passing. And because of that, she was, by law, um, allowed to own a portion, I think it's 50% of his assets. So, who do you think? should actually manage Biggie's legacy? Should it be Faith or Wayne Barrow? Because he's asserting that the courts actually turned over the management of Biggie's legacy and estate to him to manage. And who is Wayne Barrow? Well, he's a longtime record executive, with closely associated with the Notorious B.I.G. and now the executor and trustee of Biggie's mom's estate and the Christopher Wallace Trust. That's exactly who he is. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that the courts should indeed award him control? Or should they actually revert back to what Biggie's mom and Faith were doing before? Somewhat of a 50-50 arrangement. Now, from my personal perspective, and this is just my personal opinion, Faith should be splitting the sales of his catalog 50-50 with the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation. Definitely. To keep his legacy and memory alive? Absolutely. And she has experience because, from all accounts, it indicated that Biggie's mom was actually handling the majority of like negotiations. Biggie's mother created the LLC, so I'm not really sure what her her business savvy is, or maybe she has someone who's advising her. But I mean, I think it would be just fine if they did a 50-50, because then it would be a total win-win for all parties involved. But I will be following this civil suit through to the outcome, and I will keep you guys posted on what's going on, because this one I think is rather this is very high profile. This is very important as far as Biggie's legacy, and also keeping his name, likeness, music, and just his overall impact on hip hop relevant. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing today. Be sure to set your notifications to all so that you're notified when I go live or add new content. I have a boatload of content coming up very soon, over the weekend here, as well as upcoming weekends. I will be primarily streaming and updating my channel on the weekends until further notice. I may do a couple of streams during the week here and there, but you won't know unless you're subscribed and get that notification. Be sure to set your notification bell to all so that you're notified when I go live or add new content. And tap in, guys. I want to hear your perspective in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Should Faith remain in control, or should she actually arrange or agree to a 50-50 split between herself and Biggie's mother's estate? Let me know in the comments, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.
Gavel strikes, it's the sound of doom in a courtroom, crowded every face in gloom. Truth on fingers pointing secrets to bear, lies entwined in the heavy air. The jury's watching, hearts break into, whispers tremble, but the facts won't do. Judge and jury, kings of fate, deciding lives on a silver plate. The verdict's echo rings out so loud, innocence buried lost in the crowd. Faint confession behind a cracked door, a stained glove tossed upon the floor. Law books close, though they never heal. Justice bends, but the scars stay real. Clock keeps ticking, truth on the line. Each tick weighs heavy, a paradigm. Chaos brews behind composure's mask. Answers buried in impossible tasks. Judge and jury, kings of fate, deciding lives on a silver plate. The verdict's echo rings out so loud,